All right, we're live. Hey guys, Frank here with TITHE.LY, back on Monday morning. It's great to be with you guys. Hopefully anyone joining out there had a great weekend, had a great Father's Day weekend. I know I did. I've got I've got 3 boys. They're 8 years old, happen to have triplets. So we had a ton of fun. I got breakfast in bed and then we watched some cartoons and I just had a good day with each other. Had church and did a barbecue and hung out in the pool and all those kind of things. So happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. And today I am joined by a local pastor who I've actually met in person when they were evaluating TITHE.LY a little while back, maybe a year ago, a little less than a year ago. But Toby is the senior pastor at Vista Assembly. So Toby, great to have you this morning. Thanks for joining us.
Good to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah. Man, we always love to start the show off just by learning a little bit about our guests. And so I'd love to learn about yourself. How'd you get into ministry? How'd you start leading the church that you're at today? Tell us a little bit about the church, just give us a sense of who you are.
Yeah, you want 27-year history in 30 seconds. I like it.
Yeah. Well, maybe you can have 90. We'll go 90 seconds.
Yeah. I started off heading towards the teaching world when I was leaving college, and God had a different plan and pulled me into youth pastoring instead. And I youth pastored for on and off for 20 years, as 20 to 25 years in and out of being a senior pastor, planning a church. And then the last church I was at just felt the call of God to leave and be a senior pastor again. And it just worked out perfectly that right at the time I had turned in a resignation and said, I'm going to step out in faith and do it. I got a phone call to come here. So been at Vista Assembly for almost 2 years now. Okay. And loving it. And it's great church, great people. And charging forward.
There we go. And tell us, where's Vista Assembly and what's kind of the makeup of the church? What kind of, size and demographic and location?
We're right now, before the pandemic thing slammed us, our average attendance is right around 200, a little over 200.
Yeah.
And we're in North County, San Diego, in the city of Vista. And it's an Assembly of God church, which is, denominational, but we're all autonomous to kind of do what we do.
Yep.
and reach people. So, it's a little bit on the Pentecostal side, a little bit on the kingdom minded side. And I don't know if that explains a lot, but
yeah. And from memory, when we were there on site, it's right in the community.
Yeah.
Right?
We're right.
It's very much a local church.
Yeah. It's been there since the 56, I think it started. We have a K-8 school on our campus. We also have a preschool. So about 150 kids in the K-8 and another 90 in the preschool. Well, before this all hit, we'll see what happens in September.
There's an asterisk on everything right now. It's just noted that it's all pre-COVID.
Pre-COVID stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you guys started meeting back in person, or are you evaluating that? What's that? How's it been for you guys?
The last 3 weeks, we did 1 week with just our volunteers coming back.
Okay.
And we kind of went over, we did a service with them in the room, kind of still just streaming mainly online, just to kind of let them get a feel of what it was going to be like, and then coaching them what it's going to be like for the new setup. And then the last 2 weeks we've done regular, invite everyone, but we went to 2 services to try to fit everyone in because of the rules that they've put in place. Mm-hmm. And this is the first week we're adding children's church, going back to 1 service and spreading things out and inviting everyone to come back.
Okay. Wow. You're going to be, maybe we'll circle back to that at the end of the show. So let's rewind. I don't know what it is now, 10 weeks, 12 weeks or something like that.
Yeah.
Middle of March. What was it like for you guys? And I know we're going to jump into kind of how technology's played a role, but were you streaming before, and how did you make the transition into doing church 100% online?
Yeah. Back when I was a youth pastor, before I came here, I was streaming my youth services on Facebook. And so when I came here, they weren't doing that. And so I set up a camera and started streaming.
Yeah.
And then the band came to me and said, hey, we don't want you to do that because it just doesn't sound good. It makes us sound horrible. And I've got really good musicians and professional musicians that are part of the church and volunteer. And they're like, hey, we want a better mix. So we shut the live streaming down for about 3 or 4 weeks and worked on it. bought just some small equipment, and moved a computer into the room so that we could have a second mix. And so by, I'd say April, May of last year, we were sounding like one of the bigger churches live. We've got some great tech people that worked really hard on it. And so we have one mix for the room. And then when my sound guy has all that set, he runs back into a whole nother room where he can't hear what's going on. And it's all coming through another computer system to what will be heard online. He's mixing it back there.
Okay.
So it's pretty scary because I've only got one guy doing both. Hopefully get some more people trained for it. But we've been thankfully ahead of the game. And so when the pandemic hit, it was an easy transition for us. All we did at that point was add a few more cameras to make it to it wasn't just one camera position. Right.
And so you guys kept, it sounds like, doing service in the building with no audience, right? Like no church members there. And so it kind of multi-camera and kind of beefed up what was going on there, but you kind of already dialed in the core stuff.
Right.
Then, so, it hits and you're like, okay, church, we're all online. How did you get it out to the church? And what was that first Sunday like?
TITHE.LY helped tremendously because we had just gotten TITHE.LY set up. We were still learning it. I think we started with TITHE.LY in late January. We were spending February diving in, learning and growing, and like spending a lot of our spare time was spent learning what TITHE.LY does,
right?
And communicating with the people and trying to get them, online with the apps and everything else. So, we just reached out to them through them as much as possible, and then we put a whole lot of posts on Facebook saying, "Hey, we're going to be live Sunday morning." And then we got a countdown thing up there, which kind of helped people to find us and get there early. Yeah. So we're just showing up late. And so it's just a process of trying to figure out what works best and how to actually make it go smooth.
Yeah, 100%. So how have you kind of jumping into the communication side and where tech has kind of played a role? Like, what has it been like kind of keeping the church engaged? How have you guys been doing, just the communication aspect of being with the church, keeping them engaged on a regular basis? Like, what does that look like? I don't know. What's a weekly rhythm for you guys look like?
Our people probably get more texts and emails than they want. Some of them, but some of them absolutely love it.
Yeah.
The TITHE.LY app lets us pick and choose who we're sending messages to by creating groups. And so we've been communicating to our own teams. Yeah. We've been communicating to, we have one called the Church Loop. Hey, all of you who want information, sign up for the Church Loop, and then that's easy. Like, hey, the loop, whenever we send something out, it goes to the loop, and then, we have membership for voting purposes and stuff like that. So when we need to send something to only those who can vote, we've been communicating with them. And then just simple text, just so we're thinking of them, we're with you, we're praying for you. Let us know if you need anything. Right. That goes out to kind of everyone in a text. And so pretty much Mondays they're going to hear from me, about what's coming up this week.
And is that usually like, do you have like a Monday email?
I don't do it like religiously, where I've got a big special format. Hey, it's Monday with Pastor Toby. I don't do like that. So I usually by Monday night, I'm remembering that I've got a lot of information that has to get out, and I send it out via email.
Yep.
We also do a thing called Lunchtime Live. So Monday through Friday at noon, one of our pastoral staff is on live with Facebook, just doing a devotion for lunch.
Yeah.
So we do that. And then every Wednesday night, we do a live worship set as well. So between the lunchtime lives, between the Wednesday night worship, and between all the texts and all the emails that go out, we communicate with our people more. And still, we had some that were the elderly or not quite tech savvy that were like, hey, we haven't heard from you guys. And so we've also just done the old fashioned thing and picked up the phone and called everyone in the church at least twice during the last couple months.
Wow, that's cool. And when you say called them twice, is that like a regular thing, or you're just trying to like maybe monthly make it through a rotation?
Yeah, we're going to call everyone again, see how they're doing. We called them all one time, did our best to reach everyone via phone. And then 2 or 3 weeks later, we're like, hey, heard from this guy, said he never got in touch. They haven't heard from us. So we're going to call everyone again and make sure we didn't miss anyone. So yeah, and now that we're reopened, it's time. We'll probably make that last phone call again throughout the whole system and just tell people voice at least that, hey, we'd love to see if you're back open. But again, if you're not healthy, stay home.
Right.
So,
right. Yeah. Because you guys are still going to keep the live stream going. Like that's still going to be part of your thing.
Yeah. The one thing we've learned is that live stream is bigger than, the church. Live stream not only reaches more people per day for us, but it's online forever. And so everything we do and we post online is the gospel going out for 100 years from now. Someone can click back and laugh at my clothes, but they're going to hear the message. They're going to click back and think, "God, what kind of music did they sing 100 years ago?"
Yeah,
The gospel
for the archives.
So use your streaming. I encourage other pastors, use the streaming and think bigger in terms of streaming. How do we reach more people streaming? We reach people worldwide every time we go online. We have people from India, Africa. We have people from all over the world watching us and checking us out and then communicating with us. So we have friends we didn't know we had that are clicking on and watching us every Sunday now.
Yeah. And totally true. I mean, I feel like I've heard that from almost every church I've talked to, that their reach online surpassed what they expected. Sure. I've heard a little bit of the kind of online church fatigue over the last, 2, 3, maybe even 4 weeks, where kind of they had these big spikes and things have kind of come down a little bit, but still higher than maybe a normal service. Have you seen that effect happening for you guys?
Yeah, we had, 5 to 6 times the number of viewers this year on Facebook alone, not even counting YouTube and the others, on Easter than we did last year live, or than we did last year altogether.
Yeah.
And then, Facebook and YouTube started getting smart and saying, hey, the churches are reaching people for free using our format. So they kind of curbed the algorithm to block people from seeing churches.
Right.
And that's why we saw such a decline. So we learned that they're in like for Vista Assembly, I'll get a notice in my notice bar saying, hey, Vista Assembly is live, but I actually have to click on it to go to, it won't come on to my personal page.
Right.
I have to go to it to watch it. And so we sat there and just told people from the pulpit right before service ever started, like the moment we went live, we're like, hey guys, we want this to reach more people and you can help us. So right where you're at, just click on share and put on your page. And then it went out to more pages, and our viewership actually came back up since we started doing that, because we're all posting, all of us pastors and staff, like as soon as the worship team starts and starts singing, we're on there like go live, watch party, and then just put your phone down in your chair and let it run.
Right.
So the more people sharing, the more it gets out there, the more it views more people, and that dip that came after Easter has now risen back up.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I love just that idea of like, even in the sermon, when you get up, right, lead pastor gets up and says, hey, church, make sure to share this on Facebook while you're watching, or on YouTube while you're watching. Like, I don't think that's a normal thing. You see it if you watch YouTubers, or you watch people, regular folks that are doing live kind of stuff. They're always saying, click the bell to subscribe, or give us a like, or share it on your page, right? So they're always doing that thing, and they do it for a reason, because it helps spread that kind of reach and gets them in better standing with Facebook or YouTube and all those kind of things. So I think it's cool that you're doing it. What, in that vein, do you do it every Sunday? Is it like now a part of your kind of intro?
No, I should. But one more thing I wanted to add is what really helps the algorithm in the church's favor is the comments.
Yeah.
So when people share it on their page and then make comments, and then we reply to those comments, the more comments that go back and forth, the more it says, hey, this is a the end thing. It's I forgot what they call it on Twitter. But it's happening. And so it actually makes the algorithm put it out on more pages.
Right.
So, the more you can get, if you can get 2,000 or 3,000 comments during a Sunday service, it's going to reach more people just because people are making comments.
Right.
So that's a huge thing. But yeah, I need to remember to do that more often from the stage, because we've kind of backed off that some, because I don't know why, we just probably forgot.
Yeah. I mean, I think it should be, pastors or speakers, I think especially the people, maybe, the hosts or the people doing kind of the intro or the welcome or those kind of things, especially in the online world, I think you see a lot of churches doing kind of the host type of model where they maybe get one or two people up, right? They're kind of introing everything. And in that moment saying, hey, where are you from? Give the episode a like, or give the service a like, or, share it on your page. But they're doing that. And it's just a regular part of how they begin church.
And it should be.
Yeah. I think that's a pretty powerful. I mean, it's not like online churches new per se, right? Like a lot of the large churches have been doing church online for 10 years, and we can learn some really great things from what they've learned over 10 years, and I think that host model is one of them. But just getting your church to promote it online, it's like the easiest form of evangelism. Like click the share button.
You know what, if you're afraid to share the gospel in face-to-face, this is the easiest way to do it. You're going to start practicing. Hey, click my page, I got a great church, great pastor, whatever. You get out there, it's the easiest. Just touch a button,
Yeah. Are you guys, so now that you're going back, and you're kind of meeting in person, even kids' church is kicking in, how are you going to keep the online church thing going? Like, are you going to go back to what it was pre-COVID, or are you going to keep trying to make it better and better and improve?
No, we're continually. So if you think about, like our average Sunday service is 200 people-ish, and our online presence could be 400 to 600 at the same time.
Yeah.
We're not focusing on the 200 that are in the building. Yeah, we're teaching them. They're in the room. We're loving them. But our real focus is reaching more and more people online.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want those that are in our community and part of our in-house, congregation to think, oh, well, we'll just watch it online, because you're missing the point of fellowship and all the good stuff that happens at the church. We don't want that to be irregular, but we also don't want to eliminate those that can't come or those that are enjoying it from faraway places. We want to make sure that's high quality and for them, and that they feel like they're a part of it as well.
Right.
And so we've moved the camera from the back corner to like dead center of the room, and especially with spaced seating that we have to do, chairs around the camera now with no block view. And so I actually got a lot of practice at speaking to a little white screen with my picture on it coming from the camera.
Yeah.
And if I was in that screen, I was in the screen. And if I moved too far, I wasn't, because we don't even have a camera guy moving. It's just kind of stationary.
Yeah.
So looking at the camera screen now is kind of normal. So it actually helped out a little bit. It was, you went from pastoring people in a congregation to almost being a studio TV pastor for 9 weeks.
Right.
And it kind of changed the thought. But in the first week I did, I was like, that was weird. I got a sound guy, the band left, the sound guy's in the room, the camera guy's in the room, and that's it.
Like no energy, right? Like no energy, no people. I mean, that's a hard thing to do.
Yeah. To stay super passionate and upbeat and all that kind of stuff without our church, you hear, amen, come on, man, preach it. You hear a little bit of that once in a while, and dead silent in the room. So it made it a little bit different feeling. That's for sure.
Yeah. Definitely different. There was a question from the audience, which I thought was great. Do you guys have, or is somebody on your staff acting as like an online campus pastor, or does the staff all contribute? And I'm thinking especially like during the live service, commenting and interacting and, engaging the audience. Do you have somebody who's doing that?
Everyone.
Everybody. Okay.
Walk
us through that. What does that look like?
All of our pastors, while we're live, are kind of monitoring their phones, via online and answering questions and doing that kind of stuff. We don't have an online campus pastor. We have certain people that are in charge of Instagram and making sure that's kept up to date, and Facebook and all that kind of stuff, making sure all of our slides and advertisements and stuff go out that way. But all of us are learning to participate more, and all of us are learning to engage more people, so that it's not just one. We're taking the church site and we're sharing that on all of our sites when something new posts, and we're actually coaching our people to do the same thing. The more your people grab a hold of what you post online as a church and share that, even if it's just the advertisement for Sunday, or something else we're doing. The more you get it out there, the better. So,
right.
Yeah, we don't have one. I wish if we could afford one, that would be great to have someone, because there's definitely enough work for one.
Yeah.
But at this point, we're all sharing the duties.
Yeah. I mean, just the production of, you talked about your one guy that's like setting it up for in person, and then he's running back to the other room and he's monitoring kind of the online portion. And, it's a big job, like having that one person do that. And then you probably have, your pastoral team or just your staff is there at church physically. So thinking about how to put on an online service as well as do that physical service when you're a church, like above average size church in a lot of ways, right? Even at a couple hundred, like pulling both of those off and doing them well is actually hard. So, how are you thinking about doing it well going into the future, and not losing steam on what you've learned over the last 12 weeks?
Yeah, keep building. But I just have to say how thankful I am that I have enough volunteer people that love what they do and really want to make it great. And they've worked over and above. Diego and Jorge, I'm just going to mention you two because you're amazing. Those two guys have just stepped over and above to make us what we are right now.
Yeah. Great team. It's the solution to many things.
Yeah.
What about, so, in talking with the team, you guys are also using Zoom, which we hear a lot. So how are you using Zoom? What role does that play in all the tech that you're using?
We used it during the pandemic a lot. And now I kind of just as a leader put an end to Zoom meetings.
Okay.
Let's get back to face-to-face. And so the office is now open. We're back to meeting together. And if we have to use Zoom, we can. You can't reach someone, do a Zoom meeting. At least you're seeing them face-to-face rather than the phone call and hearing a voice. But yeah, we used it a lot just to communicate as a staff and with other people. And things like this where I could go online and do a Zoom and post it live, if I was doing an interview or something like that with the church. But it was, I'm thankful that Zoom made themselves available during that time. Our school, when they shut down our school, all of our teachers the next day were live doing Zoom classes all day long with their students. Mm-hmm. And so we actually kept the education at full force using Zoom. And the only thing that didn't happen with that is preschool.
Yeah.
That didn't work. But K through 8 continued to Zoom every day, all the way through the school year. So yeah, thankful that it was there. But now we've kind of cut it off and shut it down and said only when necessary.
Yeah. Since we can, and a lot of churches aren't able to go back. So, it's still like my church, we rent middle schools, right? So we're all sort of portable church by design. So, can't go back yet. We're all still, virtual and things on Zoom.
Yeah. So. And all the churches technically that seat more than 100 people, or all the churches that like 400, 500, 600 churches and bigger, they can't meet yet because of the limitations here in California. You can't have a max of more than 100 attendees in your service. So, well, what are they going to do? Church around the corner has, 10,000 people. They can't have 100.
Yeah, they're in a whole nother. I definitely think there's a very large church and a more regular, size church of a couple hundred mindsets. Right. I think there's different ways that those types of churches have to come back because of the scale that they operate at.
Right.
And you have the school and everything too, so that's a unique part of kind of how you guys are coming back. I guess in the last couple minutes, you mentioned kind of coming on to TITHE.LY and using the church management tools, as well as the church app and giving and things like that. How has giving performed through this season for you guys?
Very well. It increased because people weren't in. We still have some that just have to write the check, and that's okay. They've mailed it in.
Totally.
So because we shut the office down, we had to go to the post office twice a week to pick up our mail. But we'd go there, and every time we went, there was some envelopes and checks in it. But for the most part, the people that weren't already in consistent, giving online are now online givers. Mm-hmm. So it increased that during that time.
Right.
And we didn't see a huge drop at all in our normal, weekly or monthly giving.
Yeah.
So it's been hanging in there consistent.
That's awesome.
Yeah, good.
I just have to share this with the whole audience in the show, doing the show live and doing everything from home. One of my kids is in here, and he decided to bring his chameleon onto the show. So
There you go.
That's Charmy for the audience.
Charmy.
You gotta take him back. What about the church database side of things, like in terms of managing members and keeping data up to date during the season?
Right.
Like keeping all this information so you have good emails and good phone numbers. What have you guys done around that kind of thing?
When we made the first phone calls to everyone, the first round, during mid to late March, we were shut down and we were just calling everyone to see how they're doing.
Right.
One of the things we tried to do when we got a hold of them is, hey, do we have your right email address, and double check everything. Yeah. So that was part of it. And we did that the second time around. But database is a work in progress. No matter how hard you keep it up, there's always something to update.
Right.
And so we're just doing our best to stay consistent and trying to get people to update their own systems. And because we couldn't see them face to face for a long time, right when we got started, now that we're seeing them face to face, we're actually working on. We had all of our volunteers already signed up for the Alvanto side, the database side. Yeah. And they've already updated their systems, but everyone else hadn't. So now we're bringing all of them on board and trying to get them to update their own systems and show them how to use it as well.
Yeah.
So it's when you shut down all your events, they can't click on the calendar and click event anymore because you kind of shut it down. And so now we've got events back on there, and they're logging on to do that and creating their own accounts and updating their accounts. So it's a work in progress. I wish I said it was I'd had an answer and make it easy for everyone, but it's work. And so I have all the pastors and all the admin people, when they talk to people on the phone, kind of checking out, making sure that we're up to date.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things where it sounds like you at least had, the email list, you had people starting to use the church app so you could send push notifications by groups and those kinds of things. But it kind of highlights the importance of churches like having a system that is as up to date as you can keep it, because it is hard work. Right. But having all that data in a cloud-based kind of church management system so that you can communicate, keep people engaged is really important. Sure. Because you never know. I mean, hopefully this kind of thing doesn't happen often, but you just never know what's going on. And you got to stay connected with people. So tech plays a role. There was another question from the audience that asked, what tech are you using for online giving? So Toby, I'm just going to let you answer that one.
TITHE.LY. we switched from the one that we were using to TITHE.LY. It does everything we need it to do. And with, no second thoughts about it. It's been perfect for us. Yeah.
And I think, just for the audience, I think, Toby, we saved you guys a little bit of money. You got to meet with some local folks, and some of us are in San Diego, and which we love, man. We love when we can hang out with customers in person. So it's been great serving you guys. Well, Toby, where can folks go to check you guys out? Check out how you're doing church online, check out your website, learn a little bit more about you guys.
VistaAssembly.com is the website, and Facebook, YouTube, check out Vista Assembly. Best way to do it if you're going to watch us online, do those kind of things.
Yeah.
And if you're local to North County and you're looking for a place, come on and check us out face to face. We'd love to have you. We're at 9:30 on Sunday mornings.
Love it.
People watching this are part of churches and other stuff, so that didn't need to happen. But hey, you never know.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think churches are loving learning from other churches and checking out kind of what they're doing online, and just hearing. My hope in this show is that pastors, other church leaders take one little thing away, like, oh, they're doing this thing, or, oh, they tried that and it worked, right? One little thing. So I think there's a lot of great value that comes from these shows. So today was great, man. Thanks, Toby, for jumping on here. Appreciate your time and appreciate how Vista Assembly is serving the community out there in Vista. And, for folks that joined us live, appreciate you guys. Like always, we give away a pair of AirPods. The new ones, and we announce those in our email newsletter. So people have had questions about that. We will select somebody from the comment stream. We usually try to find folks that are pretty active, and we will announce it in the next email that goes out. So if you're not receiving the emails, you can ask us how, and we'll get you on that list. And we will see you next Monday. We're doing the show every Monday morning, 9 a.m. Pacific. and trying to just have church leaders sharing what they're doing as we go through this pandemic and come out of it, now that we're starting to go back to church. So join us next Monday, and appreciate everyone that was on today. Thanks, guys.